Right now, no refugees are being resettled in the U.S., not from the Congo, from Sudan, Afghanistan, Haiti. The only exception is South Africa, specifically Afrikaners, a white minority group of landowners that's claiming discrimination. And here's President Trump on Friday defending the fairness of prioritizing white South Africans.
If I see people in distress, I don't care what color, what they look like, what anything, their size, their height, their eyes, I don't care. But I think that from all evidence, the farmers in South Africa are being treated brutally. And it's been reported, and nobody wants to cover it. But they happen to be white, and if they were black, I'd do the exact same thing. And we treat people very well when we see there's a genocide going on. So if it's a genocide, that's terrible, and I happen to believe it could very well be.
It's Ken Harbaugh with the MeidasTouch Network. Donald Trump's immigration policy is racist. Anyone who is paying attention knows that much. But the official stamp of racism isn't actually the worst thing about the policy. It's the way it's being deployed intentionally to encourage the worst elements of our society. If you think the preferential treatment of white South Africans is simply an artifact of Trump's deep-seated personal racism, which we've talked about often on this show, think again. It is a signal, maybe even a reward, to the racist white nationalists that have become some of Trump's most committed supporters. This is Trump saying, I have your back. I talked to Kris Goldsmith, Army vet and literal Nazi hunter, about this. In part one earlier this week, we talked about the history of Trump and Musk's sympathies for apartheid South Africa. In part two, Kris dives deep into the alliance between white supremacists and Donald Trump, and he has a warning for what may be coming next. Here's our conversation.
The accelerationists are not looking at Donald Trump as, oh, we've won. They are looking at Donald Trump as, oh, our most useful tool is sharpened and is usable again. So they are wielding Donald Trump and the crevices that he is creating in American culture, and they are attempting to drive bigger and bigger wedges between them. Because at the end of the day, Donald Trump is not rounding up every person of color. He's not rounding up every Jew in this country. That is the goal of the accelerationist, of the neo-Nazi, of the white supremacy. Because we are not there, they are going to keep allying themselves with Donald Trump and Elon Musk and trying to push them and encourage them to do more and more aggressive behavior. And what I think that we should expect, if it hasn't happened already, is to see the deputization of not just unlawful militias, but of mercenaries, of the Blackwater types aiding DHS and law enforcement in frankly doing things that people in uniform may not be willing to do on their own, and that will include capture of immigrants and probably people who are not immigrants, suspension of habeas corpus. That is what Stephen Miller and Donald Trump have openly talked about doing, removing the person's right, an American's right, or anyone on American soil's right to contest their detention in court. That is what habeas corpus is. And they will be shipping people overseas. And I want to remind people that not every concentration camp was inside Germany. And when we look at history, we are not being alarmist. We are simply learning. We are learning our own history. We are learning about what has happened, what it looks like in the lead up to those horrible things. And we can still work to prevent these. It is not too late. That is, I'm not here to scare people. I'm here to encourage them to engage in the democratic process and to fight back while we still can.
Your observation about the deputization of vigilantes, for lack of a better word, makes me think of the increasing use of masks by federal agents, or at least people who wear a vest that says federal agent, but how would we know, right? If we can't identify them, which by law, except with very few exceptions, they should present their identification. They're not anymore. And it makes you wonder just why they are breaking the law to conceal their identities.
Yeah, it puts people like me in a very scary position. I am someone who, by the nature of my work, I track extremist organizations, I gather evidence of criminality, and I work with law enforcement and victims so that those extremists can be held accountable in a court of law. Because of that, my family has been threatened. And that is not, I'm not talking about like getting messages from an anonymous account online. I'm talking about a neo-Nazi showed up to my mother's house to hand deliver a death threat. And then after we got law enforcement involved, he doubled down and encouraged his friends to do it. And then my home address went up on a neo-Nazi forum. And then I started getting swatted. So when I talk about death threats, I mean, they're actually trying to kill me. Because of these experiences, I now have a concealed carry permit. That's because my address is and has been out there now for years. For neo-Nazi organizations, members of whom have been charged with and prosecuted for and successfully convicted of crimes related to terrorism and murder. Right. So these are not internet tough guys. These are real criminals, real gang members. They want to kill me. Now, it is not unlikely that they would show up at my house dressed as federal agents, wearing, uniforms that they could buy on Amazon, and come in and kidnap me and my wife. That is not an unrealistic scenario. So now I have to wonder, should I, if I ever get a knock at the door in the middle of the night, should I assume that they are law enforcement officers, or should I assume that they are neo-Nazis attempting to imitate law enforcement officers? That is an impossible decision to have to make. And it is a decision that could result in my death and the death of others. These are not abstract, what if hypothetical scenarios. This is my life. And this is going to be what life is like for more people who are part of the active resistance against fascism here in the United States. I'm lucky. I'm a tattooed, bearded veteran who law enforcement, if they look me up, they know that I have firearms. They know that I have a concealed carry permit. They know that I am trained, right? So I have the privilege of knowing that law enforcement is more likely than not to call me before they ever try to breach my door.
Yes.
But most people don't live with that kind of privilege.
The breakdown of trust. I mean, we're already far down this road of the average citizen not trusting law enforcement the way we want, right? In a better society. But when law enforcement are grabbing PhD students off the street wearing masks and not identifying themselves, I don't know how that ends well. Kris, always great having you. Can you give us one more plug for the June 6th event and why it's so important?
Yeah, look, anyone who's seen me on social media knows that I've been posting about this June 6th event, the Rally for Veterans, Rally for America. This is an event where it is an opportunity for Americans to come together around an issue that is really difficult for any political party to say that they're the victims of it.
I am getting older, as my kids always remind me, and every day I notice just a bit more of the aches and pains that go along with that. The most important thing I can do is stay fit, exercise, and eat well, but let me tell you about an aging hack. Qualia Senolytic helps the body rid itself of senescent cells, which are the so-called zombie cells that accumulate and can lead to less energy, slower workout recovery, joint discomfort, and basically feeling old. Qualia Senolytic is a groundbreaking, clinically tested supplement with 9 vegan, plant-derived compounds that help your body naturally eliminate these senescent cells, helping you feel years younger. Here's how it works. You take it just 2 days a month, helping your body naturally eliminate zombie cells to age better at the cellular level. And Qualia's breakthrough formulation is vegan, non-GMO, and tested by leading scientists. A big culprit behind that middle-aged feeling can be these senescent cells that linger in your body after their useful function, wasting your energy and resources. Taking Qualia Senolytic can help you turn back the clock, giving you more energy, less soreness after exercise, and a boost in productivity. Experience the science of feeling younger. Go to qualialife.com/Ken for up to 50% off your purchase and use code Ken for an additional 15%. That's QUALIA life.com/Ken for an extra 15% off your purchase. Your older self will thank you, and thanks to Qualia for sponsoring this episode.
Here's the way that, we can anticipate this being framed. We go out and we say, we are rallying for veterans' jobs. We are rallying for the VA, for the healthcare and benefits system that serves 9 million veterans in this country. We are rallying to say that you cannot fire 80,000 employees of this system and expect people like me who get 100% of our healthcare from that system to continue to get top-notch care. That is what I am getting right now. That is what our rally is about. There will be people who come out and say, "Oh no, this is political. This is an attack." This is nonpartisan. Yes, it's political because life is political. If I say that I don't want to, have a world where Nazis can break into my house in the middle of the night, that implies that I believe in a system of laws. Therefore, it's political, right? So for someone to say it's political, you should not instantly dismiss it. We are not attacking any politician. We are not attacking any party. And if anyone wants to interpret it that way, that sounds to me like a guilty conscience. And perhaps they should ally themselves with veterans and with military families and with service members, because the Unite for Veterans, Unite for America rally is an opportunity for us to show that American values still exist. They are nonpartisan. They are bipartisan. Yes, they are political, but in order to be a member of any society, you have to participate in politics, or else politics is going to participate in you.
We'll put a link in the show notes. We'll make sure to link to your On Offense Substack page. Keep up the great work. Kris, we'll see you again soon.
Thank you, brother.
New Meidas merch drop. Check out the latest pro-democracy sticker packs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and more. All at store.meidastouch.com.